The first shot didn't kill her. It only split the air between us, shattering the glass behind her head and spraying glittering fragments into her hair like something ceremonial, something obscene. She didn't scream. She just stared at me, mouth slightly open, as if I had been the one who fired it. My ears rang, but I heard the second shot clearly. It tore through the hallway wall and buried itself somewhere inside the apartment that had once felt safe. The smell of burned metal mixed with the sweetness of her perfume, and for one impossible second I thought this was what memory smelled like when it started to rot. "Get down," I said, but I didn't move toward her. She noticed that. Of course she did. Another shot. Closer. The door splintered inward. I grabbed her arm then, too late to look heroic, too early to look innocent. We fell behind the kitchen counter, her body colliding with mine in a way that felt intimate and catastrophic. Her breath came in quick, shallow pulls. She kept looking at my face, not the door. "Did you know?" she asked. It wasn't a scream. It was worse. It was calm. I started, but the words died because I wasn't sure they were true. The door gave way. Boots stepped over broken wood. I could see shadows moving across the ceiling, distorted by the flickering light. My heart pounded, not from fear of dying, but from fear of being seen. I had imagined this moment so many times in smaller, safer ways. A confrontation, a revelation. Not this, not bullets. "Stay here," I whispered. She pulled her arm back. "You're not leaving me." I should have felt something heroic at that. Instead, I felt trapped. If I moved, I might survive. If I stayed, I might prove something. But proving something had never been about her. It had always been about me. A man's voice from the hallway. "We know you're here." Plural. We. I leaned up just enough to see over the counter. Two figures, masks. One of them kicked over a chair as if this were an inconvenience, not an execution. I recognized the posture before I recognized the height. The way he leaned slightly to the left, compensating for an old injury. My stomach dropped. She saw my expression change. "You know them." It wasn't a question. I wanted to lie. I wanted to tell her this was random, that we were victims, that I had been protecting her from something faceless and inevitable. But the truth pressed against my throat, sharp and unignorable. I had invited this storm. I just hadn't expected it to break tonight. Another step. Closer. "Come out," the man called. "We're only here for one of you." Her fingers tightened around my wrist. What does that mean? It meant they had promised me something. It meant I had believed them. I stood up slowly, hands raised. The air felt thick, electric. One of the masked men aimed his gun directly at my chest. The other angled toward the counter, toward where she crouched. My mind raced through scenarios. None of them clean. I could step forward, draw attention, buy her time. Or I could say her name, offer it, trade it. "Leave her out of this," I said. The man tilted his head. "That's not what you said before." Her breath caught behind me. A tiny sound, but it carved through me. I could feel her understanding forming, assembling itself from fragments. She was smart. Too smart. She had always known when I was hiding something. She just hadn't known how much. "I changed my mind," I said. He laughed. It wasn't loud. It was disappointed. "You don't get to." He moved the gun slightly. Not enough to fire. Enough to make a point. My pulse hammered in my ears. I thought about the emails, the late-night meetings, the way I had convinced myself it was temporary, that I was buying us safety, that if I gave them something small, something strategic, they would leave her alone. But nothing is small when it involves a name. "She doesn't know anything," I said. "She knows you," he replied. That was worse. Behind me, I heard her stand, not crouching anymore, not hiding. "What did you do?" she asked, and there it was. Not fear, betrayal. "I was trying to fix it," I said. "For us." "For us?" She almost laughed. "You mean for you?" The second masked man shifted, impatient. "We don't have time for this." The first one kept his eyes on me. "You were supposed to deliver her tonight." The words hung there, grotesque and undeniable. She inhaled sharply. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I felt her step back, away from me, as if physical distance could undo what she had just learned. I had told myself I would explain it gently, in pieces, over weeks, that she would understand the pressure I was under, that she would forgive the method because of the intention. But intentions don't absorb bullets. "I didn't think you'd actually come," I said. That was the most honest thing I had said all night. The man lowered his gun a fraction. "You thought we were bluffing?" I swallowed. I thought I could renegotiate. By hiding? By buying time. For what? I didn't answer because the truth was humiliating. For courage. For a version of myself that didn't exist. She moved beside me then, not behind. Her shoulder brushed mine, but there was no warmth in it. "He told you he'd hand me over?" she asked them. "Yes," the first man said. "Why?" He gestured with the gun. "Ask him." Her gaze burned into me. "Why?" Because I had been drowning. Because I owed money that wasn't just financial. Because they had leverage. Because they knew about my father, about the documents I had signed years ago without reading, about the chain reaction that had started long before I met her. Because they had told me they would destroy her career first. And I had believed them. Because they said they'd ruin you, I said. I thought if I cooperated, I could control it. Control it? Her voice cracked. You offered me. I was going to pull out. She stared at me as if I had just confessed to something unspeakable. You don't pull out of betrayal. The masked men exchanged a glance. This was not the tidy transaction they expected. I could see irritation creeping in. They wanted compliance, not collapse. The first man sighed. We're done waiting. He stepped forward. The gun came up again. My body moved before my mind did. I lunged, not toward him, but toward her, pushing her sideways as the shot exploded through the room. Pain tore through my shoulder, hot and blinding. I hit the floor hard, dragging her with me. The second man fired too. The ceiling burst open, plaster rained down. She screamed this time, not from fear, from rage. Stop, she shouted. Another shot, and then silence. I blinked through the haze. The masked men were retreating, not running, just recalibrating. This isn't over, the first one said. You've complicated it. Then they were gone. The apartment felt hollow. Smoke drifted lazily toward the broken windows. My shoulder throbbed, sticky with blood. She pushed herself up slowly, staring at me like I was something she had never seen before. You got shot, she said. I noticed. She didn't move to help me. She didn't touch me. She just stood there, shaking, absorbing the scale of it. I had meant to protect her. That was the narrative I clung to, but the scene in front of us told a different story. I had endangered her first. The gunshot wound didn't erase that. You gents to be work. You were going to hand me to them, she said again, softer now. I thought I could outplay them. You're not that smart. The words hit harder than the bullet. I tried to sit up. Pain surged, but I forced myself upright. They won't stop. No, she said. They won't. And now they'll come harder. She nodded once. Because you failed them. Because I chose you, I wanted to say. But that would have sounded noble, and I didn't deserve noble. An ambulance siren wailed faintly in the distance. Someone must have heard the shots. Time was compressing. Choices were narrowing. They wanted leverage, she said slowly. So give them something else. What? She looked at me, and there was something in her eyes I had never seen before. Calculation. Not fear. Not hurt. Strategy. Me, she said. No. You already did it once. Do it properly. I won't. You don't get to decide that anymore. My head spun. Blood loss. Shock. Or maybe just the realization that she was no longer reacting to me. She was acting independently of me. The control I thought I had over the situation, over her, over the narrative, was dissolving. They won't just talk to you, I said. They'll break you. She crouched down to my level. They already did. You helped. The sirens grew louder. Lights flashed against the walls. Red and blue painting our ruin in official colors. Listen to me, she said. If they think I'm still an asset, they won't kill us. Not yet. Us? I asked. She hesitated. For now. That was worse than rejection. It was conditional survival. I can fix this, I insisted, though I no longer believed it. You don't fix things, she said. You negotiate them. Footsteps thundered up the stairs, neighbors shouting, doors opening, reality crashing back in. She stood and walked to the window, looking down at the gathering crowd. This is bigger than you, she said quietly. And now it's bigger than me. I watched her silhouette against the flashing lights. I had thought the worst moment would be when she found out. I was wrong. The worst moment was realizing she was adapting faster than I was. Paramedics burst in. Questions, hands, pressure on my wound. She answered everything calmly, too calmly. When they asked who had done this, she said, I don't know. She didn't look at me when she said it. As they lifted me onto the stretcher, our eyes finally met. There was no forgiveness there. No immediate hatred either. Just distance. Measured and intentional. In the ambulance, as the doors slammed shut, I saw her through the shattered doorway of our apartment, standing alone amid broken glass and splintered wood. She didn't look like a victim. She looked like someone calculating her next move, and I realized something that frightened me more than the gunfire. I had betrayed her once, but she might be about to betray me back. The siren screamed as we sped away, and I pressed my head against the cold metal wall, trying to steady my thoughts. Pain radiated through my shoulder, but beneath it was something colder. If she chose to work with them, not as leverage but as partner, I would have created my own replacement. I closed my eyes and saw the masked man's posture again. The lean to the left. I knew him. I had known him for years, and if she learned that part too, if she learned how deep this ran, there would be no negotiation left. Only reckoning. The fluorescent lights in the ambulance made everything look like a confession. My blood on their gloves, my breath fogging the plastic mask. The paramedic asked my name twice because I kept answering with the wrong one. Names that belonged to old versions of me, the versions that still believed a lie could be sealed if you never spoke it aloud. Every bump in the road yanked at my shoulder, and each yank dragged a memory with it, as if the bullet had torn open a pocket inside me, where I kept certain things hidden. Who did this? The paramedic asked again. I don't know, I said, and I hated how easy it was. He nodded like he'd heard it 100 times. Maybe he had. Maybe people always said they didn't know when the truth would cost them more than blood. My phone was in my pocket, heavy as a stone. It vibrated once, then again. The screen lit up beneath my trembling fingers, and for a second, I thought it would be her. A message, a demand, a goodbye. But it wasn't. It was a number I recognized without having saved it, because some numbers carve themselves into you the way threats do. Unknown caller. I let it ring. It rang again immediately. The paramedic glanced at me, annoyed. You should answer, he said. Could be family. I almost laughed. Family. I had been living off the idea of family like it was a loan, borrowing warmth and calling it love, until the interest rate became unbearable. The call stopped. A text arrived. You bleeding yet? Good. It means you're still useful. My throat tightened. My fingers went numb. The paramedic noticed my face change and asked if the pain was worse. I nodded because explaining fear would have taken too many words. I typed with my good hand. Where is she? The response was immediate. Where you promised she'd be. She's learning. A third message followed, almost affectionate in its cruelty. Don't try to warn her. She won't hear you now. I stared at the words until they blurred. I could picture her in the apartment, answering calmly, telling strangers she didn't know who attacked us. Not because she didn't know, because she was already protecting something. Or someone. Or herself. I typed again. Who was there? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. You saw him. You always see him. That's your problem. My hand shook so badly I dropped the phone. It clattered onto the stretcher, and the paramedic snapped at me to keep still. He pressed gauze into my shoulder, his face professional, detached. I envied him. Detachment was a luxury you could only afford when you hadn't built your life on a secret. At the hospital, everything moved fast and slow at the same time. They asked questions while cutting away my shirt. Someone stuck a needle in my arm. Someone else held my head still, while a doctor leaned close and told me not to fall asleep. I wanted to tell her I was more afraid of waking up. A police officer appeared at the foot of the bed, a clipboard in his hands, his eyes scanning the room like he expected the shooter to be hiding behind a curtain. He introduced himself. I didn't catch his name. Names felt useless now. Everyone was just a role. Mr. Hart, he said, reading from the bracelet they'd snapped around my wrist. We need a statement. I flinched at the last name. It wasn't mine, not originally. It was the one I'd taken when I decided to become someone new. A clean name, a clean start, a name you could say in public without someone turning their head. A statement about what? I asked. About what happened tonight, he said patiently, as if I were a child pretending not to understand consequences. I looked past him to the window. The night outside was thick and indifferent. Somewhere out there, she was making choices. I don't know who they were, I said. The officer's eyes narrowed slightly. He had heard that line too, but he hadn't gotten used to it. He leaned in. We have neighbors who heard voices. Some heard names. My stomach clenched. Names were the most dangerous currency. Did anyone get hurt besides you? He asked. My girlfriend, I said, and it came out as a reflex, a claim, a habit. Then I remembered the way she had said, for now, and the word girlfriend felt like a costume I had no right to wear. Is she here? No. He wrote something down. We'll need to speak to her. She left, I said. She was. In shock. His pen paused. He looked up. Do you know where she went? I shook my head, and this time it wasn't a lie. I didn't know. That was what terrified me. I had been the anchor, the map, the one who decided which streets were safe. Now the map was tearing itself apart, and she was walking off the edge of it without me. The officer asked more. I gave less. He left with the same expression he'd arrived with, suspicion wrapped in politeness. When I was finally alone, the room felt too quiet. The beeping monitor became a metronome for my thoughts. Each beep was a question I couldn't answer. Each beep was a reminder that I was still here. My phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. This time I answered, because fear had turned into something else. Something sharper. Anger, maybe. Or desperation. "Where is she?" I said without hello. A low laugh. "You don't get to say her name like you own it." The voice was familiar, not just from messages, from years of conversations that had always been half threat, half mentorship. "Marcus," I whispered. He didn't confirm it. He didn't have to. The tone was enough. The controlled boredom, the way he made everything sound like it had already happened. "You got sloppy," he said. "I expected more from you." "I didn't set this up," I snapped. "You sent them early." "You invited them," he replied. "You just didn't think the invitation was real." I was trying to buy time. "For what?" he asked, echoing the masked man's question from the apartment, as if they were all sharing a script. "For bravery? For conscience? Those are late purchases, Hart. You can't put them on credit." My hand tightened around the phone. The stitches in my shoulder tugged, and pain flared. "What do you want?" A pause, then a softer tone. "I want you to stop pretending you're the victim." I almost laughed again. "I got shot." "You got shot because you panicked," Marcus said. "You got shot because you couldn't decide which story you wanted to live in, the loyal one or the righteous one." "I'm done," I said. "Done," he repeated, amused. "You say that like it's a door you can close." I swallowed. "Leave her alone." "Ah," he said. "There she is. The reason you kept trying to negotiate." My skin crawled. "What are you doing to her?" "Nothing," he said. "She's doing it herself." I sat up despite the pain. "What does that mean?" "It means she's smarter than you," Marcus said, "and she's less sentimental." The words hit like a blade. I thought of her calm voice, her calculated eyes. I had mistaken her intensity for loyalty, her devotion for dependence. I had liked believing she needed me. Now I realized she had simply trusted me, and trust could turn into something else when it broke. "Put her on the phone," I demanded. Marcus chuckled. "No, she doesn't know you," I said, and my voice shook because I wasn't sure anymore. "She doesn't know what you are." "She knows what you are," Marcus replied. "And that's enough. People don't need the whole monster. They just need the part that touched them." I squeezed my eyes shut. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you owe me," he said, finally letting steel into his voice. "Because you built your clean little life on my dirt. Because every time you looked in the mirror and liked what you saw, you were using my work as lighting." I remembered the first time I met him. Not tonight, not masked. Years ago, in an office that smelled like cold coffee and ambition. He had been charming then. He had called me promising. He had offered me a shortcut I didn't recognize as a trap. I had taken it anyway, because I wanted to be special. "What do you want her for?" I asked. Marcus sighed as if I were slow. "She's not a 4. She's a leverage point. She's a door. She's a weapon you handed me, because you couldn't handle being ordinary." "I'm not handing her anything," I said. "You already did," Marcus replied. "You signed her into the story the moment you told me her name. You think you can erase that with blood?" I felt dizzy. The room tilted. My breath turned shallow. "If you hurt her," Marcus cut me off. "If she gets hurt, it'll be because she chose a side, not because of us." That was the cruelest thing he could have said. It removed my ability to protect, to blame, to bargain. It made her an agent. It made me irrelevant. "Listen," Marcus said, his voice suddenly softer again, like a father offering advice. "You can still be useful. You can still survive this." "I don't want survival if it costs her," I said. And I meant it, but I also knew the words were too clean, too noble. I didn't trust myself to be noble under pressure. "You're saying that because you're in a hospital bed," Marcus replied. "You're safe right now. Say it again when you're not." He hung up. The silence after the call was loud. I stared at the phone in my hand like it might explode. My heart hammered with a realization I hadn't allowed myself yet. Marcus wasn't just threatening me. He was watching me. He knew where I was. He knew I'd answer. He knew exactly how to make me feel like my choices didn't matter. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from her. I froze. It wasn't a long message. It wasn't emotional. It was 3 words. "Don't look for me." My chest tightened so sharply I thought I might rip open the stitches. I typed immediately. "Where are you? Are you safe?" No response. The typing dots didn't appear. Nothing. I tried again, slower, more careful, like tone could fix betrayal. "I'm sorry." Let me explain. Please. Still nothing. I stared at the blank screen and felt something inside me collapse. Not just hope, pride. The story I had told myself that I was the person she could rely on. I had always been careful with my lies. I had convinced myself that made me good. That made me different from Marcus. But careful lies were still lies. And now she was treating me like a hazard. A nurse came in and adjusted my IV. She asked if anyone would be visiting. I shook my head. She smiled politely, the way people do when they don't know what to do with loneliness. When she left, I felt the room shrink. I needed to do something. Doing nothing felt like dying slowly. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I left no message because any message would be either a plea or a confession, and both could be used against me. I tried to think of someone else to call. Someone safe. Someone outside the storm. And then I realized there was no outside. Marcus had built the storm by connecting all my roads. My mind went to one person anyway. Detective Lynn. Not the officer with the clipboard. Someone I had met months ago in a different context, when I thought I could control law enforcement the way I controlled everything else. Lynn had been investigating a network of financial crimes, laundering, coercion, things I pretended not to know about. He had asked me questions then, too. I had answered carefully. He had looked at me like he didn't believe a word. Now, maybe he was the only person who could see the truth without flinching. I found his card in my wallet. The edges were worn. I had kept it like a warning. I called. It rang twice. Then his voice. Heart, he said. Not hello. Not surprised. You knew I'd call, I said. I knew you'd get scared eventually, he replied. I didn't know it would be tonight. My throat tightened. They came to my apartment. A pause. Are you alive? Barely. And her. She's gone, I said, and the word tasted like failure. She's not answering. Lynn exhaled slowly. Tell me what you know. I hesitated. The old habit rose up, the instinct to bargain for my own protection. If I tell him everything, Marcus will know. If I tell him nothing, she'll disappear. I was trapped between two kinds of death. I know a name, I said finally. Say it. Marcus. Another pause, longer. Full name? I swallowed. You already know it. Lynn didn't deny it. I need you to say it. My mouth went dry. Saying it out loud felt like signing a new contract. Marcus Vane. Lynn's voice hardened. Where did you hear that? I worked with him, I admitted. Years ago. I thought I got out. Lynn laughed once, bitter. Nobody gets out, they just get reassigned. I need your help, I said. No, Lynn replied. You need consequences, but she might need help, and that's the only reason I'm still on this call. The words stung, but they were fair. What do I do? Start telling the truth, he said. Not the version where you're a tragic protector. The version where you made choices. I squeezed my eyes shut. If I tell you everything, he'll come for me. He already is, Lynn said, and he came for her because of you. So choose who you want to be afraid for. That did it. That cracked something open. I told Lynn about the meetings. The payments. The threats, disguised as favors. The one night, 3 months ago, when Marcus had called and said he needed a name, someone with access to certain accounts, someone clean, someone credible. I told Lynn how I had hesitated, and how Marcus had reminded me of my father's debt, how he had sent me photos of documents I didn't even remember signing, how he had made me feel like my entire identity could be stripped away with one phone call. And then I told him the worst part. I gave him her, I said, voice trembling. Not physically. Not yet. But I gave him the idea. The link. I said she'd cooperate if she thought it would protect me. Lynn didn't speak for a moment. When he did, his voice was quiet. Did she ever say she'd do that? No, I whispered. You assumed, he said. I lied, I corrected. Lynn's breath came through the phone, controlled. Do you know where she would go? I thought of her habits, her friends, the cafe she liked, the places that felt like her. Then I remembered her message. Don't look for me. It wasn't just a request. It was an instruction, a boundary. And boundaries were new between us. She won't go anywhere I can find, I said. Lynn's tone sharpened. Then we find where Marcus would lead her. How? You give me everything you have, he said. Every email, every number, every location, every memory you've been avoiding because it makes you feel ugly. I swallowed hard. I can do that. Good, Lynn replied. Because if you don't, she'll become what you already became. The words punched through me. That was the true nightmare. Not that she'd be hurt, that she'd be changed, that she'd adapt into the kind of person who could survive Marcus, the kind of person I had once admired in him before I feared him. Lynn continued. There's something else. What? We have surveillance on your building, he said. Not from tonight, from previous nights. Your place has been watched. My stomach sank. By who? By someone we haven't identified, Lynn said. But we saw her leave after the shots. She didn't run. She walked. She didn't look like someone escaping. She looked like someone going to a meeting. My breath caught. No. Yes, Lynn said. And she wasn't alone. My throat tightened so much I could barely speak. Who was with her? We can't see the face, Lynn said. But the posture, the limp, a left lean. My blood turned cold. It was him. The same lean, the same injury, the same silhouette I recognized before the mask. She followed him, I whispered. She might have, Lynn said carefully. Or she might have been taken by him. Or she might have chosen to go. The point is, she's in the orbit now. I felt like I was falling, even though I was lying still. What do I do? Lynn's voice was firm. You stay alive. You don't try to be a hero. You don't call her again. You don't warn her. You give us what you have. And you prepare for the fact that when she comes back, if she comes back, she won't be the same person who lived with you yesterday. Yesterday. The word was absurd. Yesterday I had been lying in bed with her, listening to her talk about small things. Coffee. Work. A future that felt tangible. Yesterday, I had still believed the lie that my past could be contained. I can't lose her, I said. Lynn's tone turned almost compassionate. You already did. Now you're just negotiating what kind of loss it becomes. The call ended. I stared at the ceiling, the hospital's bland tiles like a grid meant to trap thoughts. I tried to breathe through the panic, but my lungs felt tight. My phone lay on the bed beside me. No new message, no update, just silence. I imagined her in a car with him, not struggling, not screaming, listening, asking questions, her mind moving faster than her fear. She would want to understand. She would want to reclaim control, and Marcus would feed that hunger the way he had fed mine, with partial truths that made you feel powerful while binding you tighter. The door to my room opened. A man walked in wearing plain clothes, not a nurse, not a cop in uniform. He had the posture of someone who didn't need to announce authority because the room rearranged itself around him. Detective Lynn. He closed the door behind him and looked at my shoulder, the bandages, the IV. His eyes didn't soften. If anything, they hardened. You're lucky, he said. Lucky? My voice broke. She's gone. You're lucky you're alive to suffer it, Lynn replied. Most people don't get that privilege. He pulled a chair close to the bed and sat. He took out a folder. Inside were photos, blurry stills from security cameras. My building, the hallway, the stairwell. And there she was, walking, her hair messy with glass, her face pale but composed. And beside her, a shadowy figure with a slight lean. Lynn tapped the photo. This is the man you recognized. I stared until my eyes burned. Yes, Lynn watched me carefully. She didn't look at you when she left. She didn't hesitate. That tells me something. That she hates me, I said. That she decided something. Lynn corrected. Hatred takes time. Decisions happen fast when someone's survival instincts kick in. I swallowed. What decision? Lynn leaned forward. We're going to find her. But you need to understand what you might be finding. If she's with him by choice, she's not going to come back as your girlfriend. She's going to come back as a witness, a collaborator, or a weapon. The last word made my stomach twist. A weapon against who? Lynn's gaze held mine. That depends on what she believes you are. My mouth went dry. I can explain. Lynn shook his head. No. You can provide evidence. Explanations are for courtrooms and therapy. Evidence is what keeps people alive. He slid a form onto the bed. Consent for us to access your devices, your accounts, everything. I stared at the paper. Signing it felt like surrender. But not signing it felt like choosing Marcus. It felt like choosing the past. My hand shook as I took the pen. Before you sign, Lynn said. Quiet now. Answer me one question honestly. I looked up. Did you ever love her? He asked. Or did you just love how she made you feel forgiven? The question hit so deep, it made me nauseous. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to insist my love was real. But the truth was layered. I had loved her, yes, and I had also used her, not deliberately at first. But gradually, she had been my proof that I wasn't the man Marcus said I was. She had been my alibi. I loved her, I said. Lynn's eyes didn't change. That's not an answer. I swallowed hard. I loved her. And I loved what she represented. Lynn nodded once, as if he expected that. Good. Because if you can admit that, you might survive what comes next. What comes next? I asked. Lynn stood. Marcus will contact you again. He'll offer you a way to see her, a way to save her, and it will cost someone else. My breath caught. Who? Lynn's jaw tightened. Maybe you. Maybe me. Maybe her. Maybe someone you don't even know yet. He opened the door, then paused. One more thing. I looked at him. She sent a message too, Lynn said. Not to you, to someone else. My heart lurched. To who? Lynn held my gaze, letting the answer burn before he spoke it. To Marcus. The room seemed to tilt. How do you know? Lynn's voice was flat. Because we intercepted it. My throat tightened. What did it say? Lynn hesitated, then spoke slowly, as if each word mattered. She wrote, I want to talk. Alone. The blood drained from my face. I couldn't breathe properly. Alone. She wanted to talk to the man who had orchestrated our destruction, and she wanted to do it without me, without police, without anyone. She's negotiating, I whispered. Lynn's eyes were sharp. She's doing what you taught her, and she's doing it better. The words didn't land all at once. They unfolded slowly, like a bruise spreading under skin. I stared at Lynn, waiting for him to take them back, to soften them, to say he didn't mean it that way. He didn't. She doesn't know the rules, I said weakly. She thinks she can outsmart him. That's exactly how you started, Lynn replied. I felt something hot rise in my chest. Not anger at Lynn. Anger at myself. I had prided myself on being strategic, measured, rational. I had called it intelligence when it was really just fear, disguised as planning. And now she was walking the same path, except she didn't have years of compromise weighing her down. She was starting clean. She thinks she can protect you, Lynn continued. Or punish you. Or both. That's dangerous. Why intercept it? I asked. Why not stop her? Lynn's expression darkened. Because sometimes the only way to expose a network is to let someone walk into it. My heart slammed. You're using her. We're tracking her, he corrected. You're letting her sit across from him, I said. Alone. Lynn's jaw tightened. We don't know that she's alone yet. And if we move too early, he disappears again. So she's bait. She's a participant, Lynn said. Just like you were. The comparison made me nauseous. She's not like me. No, Lynn agreed quietly. She's more decisive. That hurt more than accusation. It meant she had already accepted something I hadn't. It meant she had stepped into the game without the illusion that she could stay untouched. What did she offer? I asked. Lynn shook his head. The message was short, just that she wanted to talk. But Marcus responded. My pulse spiked. What did he say? Time and place to follow, Lynn said. He's cautious. He won't meet her without control. I looked down at my bandaged shoulder. I had thought getting shot would make me the center of this story. Instead, it had sidelined me. Can I see her? I asked. Not yet. When? When we know whether she's walking in as a victim or as a negotiator. I closed my eyes. Images flooded in uninvited. Her sitting across from Marcus in one of his anonymous offices. The way he would lean slightly to the left, relaxed, deliberate. The way he would speak gently, almost kindly, while dismantling every defense she brought with her. She doesn't know what he does to people, I said. She knows what you did, Lynn replied. That might be enough. Silence stretched between us. The machines in the room kept beeping, indifferent. Lynn stood, gathering his folder. You need to rest, he said. I don't get to rest. You don't get to control this, he corrected. He left without another word. The door clicked shut, and the quiet returned, heavier than before. I stared at the ceiling and tried to reconstruct the moment she left the apartment. The way she didn't look back. The way she walked, not ran. I had interpreted it as coldness. Now I wondered if it was something else. Resolve. My phone buzzed again. My heart jumped, but it wasn't her. It was an unfamiliar number, a different, unknown. I hesitated before answering. Hello. A female voice, steady. You look worse in person. My breath caught. Where are you? Not with you, she said. The sound of her voice hit me harder than the bullet. Not because she was angry, because she wasn't. Are you safe? I asked. That depends on your definition, she replied. Don't do this, I said. Don't meet him. I already did. The words punched through my chest. When? Right after you left, she said calmly. He waited downstairs. I imagined it. The flashing lights, the chaos, and him, standing in the shadows like he owned the scene. Did he hurt you? I asked. No. Did he threaten you? She paused. Not directly. What does that mean? It means he didn't have to, she said. I gripped the phone tighter. Come back. Back to what? She asked. I didn't have an answer. You were going to give me to him, she said. Do you understand what that does to a person? I was trying to protect me, she finished. You keep using that word, because it's true. No, she said quietly. You were protecting your version of me, the one who stayed small enough to be saved. Her clarity was brutal. That's not fair. Fair? She echoed. You signed my name into something I never agreed to. I felt my throat close. I'm sorry. I know, she said. The softness of it hurt more than rage. Where are you? I asked again. I can't tell you. Because he told you not to? Because I don't trust you not to try to fix it, she said. That cut deep. You think I'd sabotage you? I think you'd panic, she replied. Silence fell between us. I could hear faint ambient noise on her end. Traffic. A door closing somewhere. She wasn't in an office. She was moving. What did he say to you? I asked. She exhaled slowly. He said you were predictable. My jaw tightened. And you believed him? I saw the messages, she said. Cold flooded my veins. What messages? The ones you thought were deleted, she replied. The ones where you described me. My stomach dropped. Described you how? As leverage, she said. As motivated. As loyal. As someone who would do anything if she thought it would save you. I closed my eyes. I remembered that conversation. Marcus asking what she was like. Me trying to sound casual, strategic, detached. I had told myself I was just giving him information, not handing her over. I had never imagined she would read it. I didn't mean it like that, I said weakly. But you wrote it like that, she replied. Her voice didn't waver. That terrified me. It meant she had already processed the shock. She was past the raw pain. She was analyzing. What are you planning? I asked. She hesitated. I'm not sure yet. Don't play with him, I said. He'll twist you. I know, she replied. That's why I'm not playing. What does that mean? It means I'm not trying to win, she said. I'm trying to understand. Understand what? You. The word hung heavy. I thought I knew you, she continued. I thought your secrecy was trauma. I thought your distance was fear. But it wasn't just that, it was calculation. I tried to speak, but she kept going. You didn't just lie to protect me, she said. You lied to control the outcome. That's the same thing, I protested. No, she said. Protection asks what the other person wants. Control assumes. I felt stripped bare. Every defense I'd built collapsed under her voice. Why meet him alone? I asked, desperate to shift the focus. Why not go to the police? I did, she said. My breath stopped. What? I called them, she continued. I gave them his name. I sat up abruptly, ignoring the pain in my shoulder. You can't do that. I already did. He'll know, I said. He already knows, she replied. My mind raced. He'll retaliate. Against who? She asked. Against you. Or against you, she countered. Silence again. You think this is about revenge, she said softly. It's not. Then what is it about? It's about deciding who I am, she replied. If I let you define me as leverage, then that's what I become. If I let him define me as asset, same thing. I need to know whether I'm either. And are you? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. When she did, her voice was lower. I don't know yet. That uncertainty was the first crack I'd heard in her tone. Come see me, I said. Please. I can't. Because you don't trust me. Yes. The honesty stung. But also, she added, because if I see you right now, I might forgive you too quickly. The words pierced through me. Is that what you think would happen? Yes, she said. And that would be dangerous. For who? For me. I leaned back against the hospital pillow, dizzy. You think loving me is dangerous. I think loving you without understanding you is, she replied. I wanted to reach through the phone, to hold her, to beg, but I knew she would hear desperation as manipulation. What did Marcus offer you? I asked quietly. She was silent for a long moment. I could hear her breathing. He offered me the truth, she said. About what? About what you've been doing. About the money. About the accounts. About your father. My blood ran cold. He's lying. Maybe, she said. But some of it matches the documents I saw. What documents? The ones Detective Lynn showed me. My heart pounded. You talked to Lynn? Yes. When? After you left. I felt the room spin. You're working with him? I'm talking to him, she corrected. You're in the middle of two sides, I said. She let out a small, humorless laugh. I've always been in the middle. I just didn't know it. The truth of that settled heavy between us. Are you trying to bring him down? I asked. And if I am? She replied. You'll get hurt. So will you, she said. I can handle it. You couldn't even handle telling me the truth, she said. That silenced me. A car door slammed on her end. Footsteps echoed briefly. She was still moving. Where are you going? I asked. To meet someone, she said. Marcus? No. Then who? She hesitated. Someone he doesn't know about. Fear spiked. That's worse. It's necessary, she replied. You're not trained for this, I said. Neither were you, she shot back. The truth was unbearable. I won't let you do this alone, I said. You don't get to decide that, she replied gently. The same words she'd used in the apartment. They felt heavier now. Why are you telling me any of this? I asked. Because despite everything, she said, I don't want you blindsided. By what? By the possibility that I won't come back, she finished. My chest constricted. Don't say that. It's a possibility, she said. Don't. I need you to understand something, she continued. If I don't come back, it won't be because he killed me. It'll be because I chose a different version of myself. The idea terrified me more than death. You're not like him, I said. I'm not like you either, she replied. Silence fell again. I loved you, she said quietly. The past tense shattered me. Don't talk like that, I whispered. I need distance, she said. From you, from him, from the story you both wrote. And if there's no version where we're together? I asked. She didn't answer for a long time. Then that's the consequence, she said finally. The word echoed in my head. Consequence. Lynn had used it too. Marcus had implied it. I had spent years dodging it. I never wanted to hurt you, I said. I know, she replied. But you did. Yes. The honesty was unbearable. Will you call me again? I asked. Maybe. That's not enough. It's all I can offer, she said. I heard her inhale, like she was about to say something else. Instead, she added softly, Don't try to find me. Then the line went dead. I stared at the phone long after the call ended. The room felt colder, smaller. She wasn't screaming. She wasn't begging. She was thinking, planning, choosing. And for the first time, I understood the scale of what I had done. I hadn't just endangered her body. I had altered her trajectory. A knock at the door broke my spiral. Lynn stepped back in, his expression unreadable. You talked to her, he said. I nodded slowly. What did she say? I looked at him, weighing the instinct to protect her against the need to stop something worse. She's meeting someone, I said. Who? She wouldn't say. Lynn's eyes sharpened. Did she mention Marcus? Yes. And she's not afraid of him, I said. That's what worries me, Lynn replied. I met his gaze. She's not afraid of me either. Lynn studied me for a moment. Good. Good? I echoed. If she were afraid of you, he said, she'd be easier to control. The implication hit me like a second bullet. She's walking into this on purpose, Lynn continued. That means she believes she can influence it. She can't, I said. Maybe not, Lynn replied. But neither could you, and that didn't stop you. I looked down at my bandaged shoulder, at the proof of my failure. What happens now? I asked. Lynn's jaw tightened. Now we see who she decides to become. The answer offered no comfort. Outside the hospital window, the night was still thick. Somewhere in it, she was moving toward something irreversible. And for the first time in years, I wasn't the one orchestrating the risk. I was the one waiting for impact. Hospitals stretch time. Minutes become moral interrogations. Every second I lay there, I imagined a different version of her conversation. In one, she was sharp and distant, asking Marcus questions like she was interviewing a suspect. In another, she was quiet, listening, letting him speak himself into a trap. And in the worst one, she was nodding, understanding him in a way she had once understood me. Lynn stayed in the room longer this time. He didn't sit. He stood by the window, watching the parking lot like he expected something to crawl out of it. I realized he wasn't just here for me. He was here because, whatever she was walking into, it intersected with something he had been chasing for years. She told you not to look for her, he said without turning around. Yes. And you're going to ignore that? Yes. He nodded faintly. Good. At least you're honest about that part. I shifted on the bed, pain slicing through my shoulder. If she's meeting someone he doesn't know about, that means she's building her own channel. Or she's improvising, Lynn replied. Improvisation gets people killed. She's not reckless. No, he said. She's reactive. That's different. I closed my eyes. I did this. You contributed, Lynn corrected. Marcus did this. The system did this. Your father did this. But yes, you opened the door. The mention of my father tightened something in my chest. He shouldn't be involved. He already is, Lynn said. You think Marcus dug up those debts for fun? Your father was leverage before she ever was. I looked at him sharply. What do you know? Enough, Lynn said. Your father signed off on shell accounts 15 years ago. Accounts that fed into the same network Marcus runs now. You were a junior analyst then. You flagged discrepancies. Marcus noticed. I remembered that. I had felt proud, observant. He had praised me, said I had a talent for patterns. He didn't just recruit you, Lynn continued. He groomed you. The word made me flinch. I was an adult. You were ambitious, Lynn replied. That's more useful. My phone vibrated again. Both of us looked at it. Unknown number. Lynn held out his hand. Speaker, I answered and put it on the table between us. Still breathing? Marcus asked. Lynn's expression didn't change, but I saw his jaw tighten. What do you want? I asked. Efficiency, Marcus replied. You've created unnecessary noise. She met you, I said. Yes. And she listens better than you, Marcus said. That's refreshing. My stomach twisted. What did you tell her? I demanded. The truth, he replied. Or at least a version that doesn't flatter you. Lynn leaned slightly closer, but didn't speak. She's not part of this, I said. She is now, Marcus said lightly. She walked into it. You pulled her, I shot back. She followed, he corrected. Silence stretched. What do you want from her? I asked. Marcus paused. That depends on what she wants. That's not an answer. It's the only one that matters, he said. Lynn mouthed. Stall him. You're using her to get to me, I said. Wrong, Marcus replied. I'm using you to see what she does. The shift made my blood run cold. What does that mean? It means, Marcus said calmly, that you're predictable. You panic. You protect. You confess at the wrong moments. She doesn't. She observes. My pulse hammered. She offered something interesting, he continued. What? Distance. My throat tightened. Explain. She said she's not loyal to you, Marcus said. And she's not loyal to me. She's loyal to information. I felt like I'd been punched. You're lying. Am I? He asked. Ask yourself why she didn't tell you where she was. Lynn scribbled something on a notepad and slid it toward me. Keep him talking. What does she want? I asked, forcing steadiness into my voice. She wants to know where the money goes, Marcus said. Where the accounts terminate. Who's above me? Lynn's eyes flickered. That was new. She thinks she can dismantle it, Marcus continued. Adorable. You won't tell her, I said. I might, he replied. People who aren't emotionally attached are easier to negotiate with. The insult was deliberate. She's not like you, he added. She doesn't romanticize power. She studies it. My chest tightened. That sounded like admiration. Stay away from her, I said. Marcus laughed softly. You're still trying to issue orders. Lynn leaned in slightly. Ask about the meeting, he whispered. Where are you meeting her again? I asked. I'm not, Marcus said. That was a courtesy. Now she comes to me. My heart lurched. Where? Not your concern, he replied. It is, I snapped. No, Marcus said. You forfeited concern when you offered her name. Silence. She told me something else, he added. I forced myself not to react too quickly. What? She said if I hurt you, she'd burn everything. The words hit like fire. She doesn't know how, I said. She's learning, Marcus replied. Faster than you did. Lynn's eyes were sharp now. He was absorbing every word. You're testing her, I said. Of course, Marcus replied. Everyone gets tested. And if she fails? Marcus's voice cooled. Then she's disposable. My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear. She's not disposable, I said. To you, he agreed. And to you? I asked. A pause. She's potentially useful, he said finally. That's more than most people get. Lynn wrote something else. He's considering her. Let her go, I said quietly. That depends, Marcus replied, on whether she proves more interesting than you. The implication was unbearable. What do you want from me? I asked. Patience, he said, and silence. You're not getting silence, I replied. We'll see, he said. The line went dead. The room felt electric after that. He's evaluating her, Lynn said. I heard that. He's curious. That's worse. Yes, Lynn agreed. I ran my good hand through my hair. She wants to know where the money goes. So do we, Lynn said. She thinks she can dismantle it. And maybe she can expose part of it, Lynn replied. She's not trained. She's motivated, Lynn countered. I stared at him. You're not going to stop her. If we intervene too soon, she loses access, he said. She's not an informant, I snapped. She might become one, Lynn said calmly. The thought twisted something inside me. She's not a tool. She already is, Lynn replied. The question is whether she chooses who wields her. The harshness of it made me feel sick. I need to get out of here, I said suddenly. You're not cleared, Lynn replied. I don't care. You will if your stitches rip open and you bleed out in a parking lot, he said evenly. I can't lie here while she… You can, he cut in. Because right now, you're the liability. That stung. She doesn't trust you, Lynn continued. If you show up, she'll shut down. Or she'll choose him out of spite. I hated that he might be right. You need to decide something, Lynn said. What? Are you trying to save her, or redeem yourself? The question lodged in my throat. They're not the same, he added. I know, I whispered. And which one is louder in your head right now? I didn't answer. Lynn nodded once. Exactly. He walked toward the door, then paused. We're tracking signals from her phone. She's moving south. South where? I asked. Industrial district, he said. Warehouses. My chest tightened. That's not casual, I said. No, Lynn agreed. It's controlled. By him. Likely. I swung my legs over the side of the bed despite the pain. Then I'm coming. Lynn stepped forward. If you go, you compromise the surveillance. I don't care. You will when she gets spooked and disappears, he said sharply. I froze. She told you not to look for her, Lynn said. If she sees you there, what do you think that confirms? That I care. That you can't let her choose, he replied. The truth of that hurt. I sat back slowly, the fight draining out of me. So I just wait. Yes. And if she doesn't come back? Lynn didn't soften his voice. Then you live with that. The room felt smaller again. Time crawled. Lynn stepped outside to take a call. I stared at the wall and tried to imagine her in a warehouse office. Lights low, metal echoing around her voice. I imagined Marcus leaning slightly left, watching her with that measured curiosity. Was she afraid, or was she exhilarated? That thought terrified me. The idea that she might feel clarity in that environment. The kind I had once felt, before I understood the cost. My phone buzzed again. This time it was her. I answered immediately. Where are you? Inside, she said. Inside where? A place that smells like oil and dust, she replied. My chest tightened. Are you alone? I asked. No. With him? Yes. I swallowed. Is he threatening you? No. Then what's happening? He's explaining, she said. Explaining what? How you fit. The words cut deep. What did he say? I asked. That you weren't malicious, she replied. Just ambitious. That's not better, I said. No, she agreed. Silence on the line. I could hear faint metallic echoes. He thinks I'm like you, she continued. He thinks I'll understand the logic. And do you? I asked, terrified of the answer. I understand the structure, she said carefully. My heart pounded. That's not the same as agreeing with it, she added. I exhaled shakily. What are you doing? I asked. I'm asking questions he doesn't expect, she replied. Like what? Like who's above him? My pulse spiked. And? He smiled. That's not an answer. No, she said softly. It's not. I felt helpless in a way I never had before. Don't antagonize him, I said. I'm not, she replied. I'm offering something. What? Information. My stomach dropped. About what? About you. The words landed heavy. What did you tell him? I asked. The truth, she said. Which truth? That you're afraid, she replied. The vulnerability in that made my throat tighten. And? I asked. And that fear makes you predictable, she said. The same word Marcus had used. You're aligning with him, I whispered. No, she said calmly. I'm aligning with the outcome. What outcome? The one where neither of you controls me. Her clarity was terrifying. You think you can stand between us and not get crushed? I asked. I'm not standing between, she replied. I'm stepping aside and letting what happen, letting the truth surface, she said. That's naive. No, she said quietly. What you did was naive. This is deliberate. I had no response. He wants something from me, she continued. What? Perspective. My stomach twisted. He wants to know how you think now, she said. If you're still useful. The humiliation burned. And what did you say? I asked. That you're conflicted, she replied. That's not helpful. It's accurate. Silence. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because I don't want you blindsided, she said again. The same phrase as before. I don't trust him. I said. I don't either, she replied. Then leave. I can't yet. Why? Because if I leave now, she said softly, I leave without leverage. My chest tightened. You're negotiating, I whispered. Yes. With your safety, I said. With information, she corrected. And if he lies? He will, she said calmly. And? I'll adjust. The confidence in her voice terrified me. I don't recognize you, I admitted. I know, she said. Silence again. Do you still love me? I asked before I could stop myself. There was a long pause. That's not the right question right now, she said. The non-answer felt like an answer. What is the right question? I asked. Whether I can respect you again, she replied. The words cut deeper than anything else. And can you? I asked. I don't know yet, she said. I closed my eyes, pain radiating through my shoulder and chest. He's coming back, she said quietly. Stay safe, I whispered. That depends on you, she replied. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, heart racing. Lynn came back into the room, eyes searching my face. She called. Yes. What's happening? She's negotiating, I said. With what? With information, I replied. Lynn's expression darkened. About you? Yes. He exhaled slowly. Then he's measuring her. And if she proves valuable, he won't let her walk. The weight of that settled like concrete in my chest. What do we do? I asked. Lynn looked at me steadily. We wait, he said, and I realized waiting wasn't passive. It was punishment. The clock on the wall ticked with obscene clarity. Every second felt like consent, like I was agreeing to let something irreversible happen because I lacked the courage to interrupt it. Lynn stood near the door, phone in hand, issuing quiet instructions to someone on the other end. Coordinates, perimeters, surveillance units repositioning without sirens. Controlled. She's still inside, he murmured after hanging up. How do you know? I asked. Signal hasn't moved, he said. I pictured her in that warehouse office. Concrete walls, flickering fluorescent lights. Marcus leaning against a metal desk, studying her as if she were a problem set. She won't fold, I said. No, Lynn agreed. But folding isn't the only way to lose. I gripped the edge of the bed. If he keeps her, he won't, Lynn cut in. You can't know that. I know his pattern, Lynn replied. He doesn't cage people who are still forming opinions. He cultivates them. The word made my stomach twist. You're saying he'll let her leave. I'm saying he'll want her to come back voluntarily. That was worse. A vibration rattled against the bedside table. My phone again. Not her this time. A message from an encrypted app I hadn't opened in months. One Marcus insisted we use when discussing sensitive accounts. My pulse spiked. Lynn saw my expression. What? He's messaging on the old channel. Open it, Lynn said. I hesitated. That channel wasn't just communication. It was history. Every compromise. Every transaction. I opened it. Marcus, she's impressive. The words made my jaw clench. Me? Let her go. Marcus, she's free to leave. I stared at that line. Me? Then why is she still there? A pause. Then, Marcus, because she's asking better questions than you ever did. My chest tightened. Lynn leaned closer, reading over my shoulder. He's baiting you. I typed anyway. Me. What does she want? Marcus. Access. The word chilled me. Me. To what? Marcus. The truth. Lynn exhaled slowly. He's framing himself as the gatekeeper. He always does, I muttered. Another message appeared. Marcus, you should be proud. She's more honest about power than you were. The insult was surgical. You're using her. Marcus. I'm testing her. I stared at the word. Testing. He'd used it before. Me. For what? The dots appeared quickly. Of Marcus. For a role you failed to fill. My stomach dropped. Lynn's jaw tightened. He's offering her your position. The implication hit like a physical blow. He wouldn't, I whispered. He absolutely would, Lynn said. Another message. Marcus. Relax. I don't recruit broken people. I recruit decisive ones. My throat closed. She's decisive, I murmured. Yes, Lynn said quietly. The warehouse signal pinged on Lynn's phone. He glanced at it. She's moving, he said. Where? Toward the exit. My heart slammed against my ribs. Alone? I asked. He checked again. Looks like it. I barely breathed. Minutes passed like hours. Then my phone rang. Her name lit up the screen. I answered instantly. Are you out? Yes. Are you safe? For now. The echo in her voice was different. Less metallic. More open air. Where are you? I asked. Walking, she said. Is he following? I don't think so. That's not reassuring. I know. Silence hung between us. What happened? I asked. She inhaled slowly. He offered me a seat. My stomach twisted. At what table? At yours, she replied. The words felt like a blade sliding under my ribs. And, I managed. And I asked what it cost. What did he say? Loyalty to outcomes, not people. The phrasing was classic Marcus. And I told him I don't trade loyalty. I trade information. I closed my eyes. What did he do? I asked. He smiled, she said. Then he said, that's how it starts. Fear crawled up my spine. Did you agree to anything? I asked. No. Did you refuse? I deferred. My pulse hammered. What does that mean? It means I said I need proof, she replied. Proof that the structure is as big as he claims. I swallowed. And he'll give it? He said he would, she answered. That's bait. I know. Then why? Because I need to see it, she cut in. Why? Because, if it's real, then this isn't just about us. The shift in her voice made my chest ache. You're expanding the battlefield, I said quietly. I'm expanding the context, she corrected. You're not a detective, I said. No, she replied. I'm someone whose life got rerouted without consent. The words silenced me. Do you understand something? She continued. If this network is as deep as he says, then walking away doesn't fix it. It just makes me ignorant. I want you ignorant, I said. I know, she replied softly. The honesty hurt. Because ignorance is safer, I added. For you, she said. For you too. Not anymore, she replied. I leaned back against the pillow, exhausted. Are you coming to see me? I asked. She paused. Yes, she said finally. My heart lurched. When? Now. Relief and fear collided in my chest. Lynn is here, I said. I know. You talked to him. Yes. Are you working with him? I'm talking to him, she repeated. The same phrase as before. What did you tell Marcus about me? I asked. The truth, she said again. Which truth this time? That you're torn, she replied. And that torn people are dangerous. I flinched. Dangerous to who? I asked. To everyone, she said. The words hung heavy. I didn't want to be, I said. I know. I never meant to drag you into this. I know that too. Silence stretched. But intent doesn't erase impact, she added. The phrase felt rehearsed, processed. She had been thinking about this long before tonight. How do you see me now? I asked quietly. She didn't answer immediately. I see you as someone who wanted to be powerful without admitting it, she said finally. The truth stung. And now? I asked. Now I see you as someone who doesn't know whether he wants to dismantle what he built. My throat tightened. And what do you think I want? I asked. I think you want me back, she said. Yes. And I think you don't yet know what that requires. The words settled deep. What does it require? I asked. Transparency, she replied. I can give that. Consistently, she added. I swallowed. I'm trying, I said. You're reacting, she corrected. I had no argument. I'll be there in 15 minutes, she said. The line went quiet. Don't hang up, I said quickly. I won't, she replied. We stayed on the line in silence as she walked. I could hear traffic, footsteps, the distant hum of the city. It felt fragile, temporary. Why didn't you take the offer? I asked softly. Because I don't want to become you, she said. The words cut clean. And because I don't trust him, she added. Relief flickered through me. But I also don't trust you fully, she said. That flicker died. I understand, I whispered. Do you? She asked. Yes. Silence. I need you to answer something honestly, she said. Anything. If I hadn't found the messages, she asked. Would you have told me? The question landed heavy. I opened my mouth to lie. Then I closed it. No, I admitted. Her breath caught slightly. Thank you for not lying, she said. The smallest shred of something softened between us. I was afraid you'd leave, I said. I did, she replied. The simplicity of it crushed me. The hospital doors opened somewhere near her. I could hear the echo shift. I'm here, she said. Lynn looked at me sharply. Seconds later, the door to my room opened. She stood there. Her hair was still tangled from shattered glass. Her eyes were different, clearer, sharper, tired, but not fragile. We stared at each other. Lynn stepped back, giving space but not leaving. She ended the call and slid the phone into her pocket. For a moment, neither of us spoke. You look worse than I expected, she said. You look different, I replied. That's accurate, she said. She walked closer to the bed, stopping just out of reach. I met him, she said plainly. I know. I didn't agree to anything. I know. I didn't betray you. The word hung heavy. I don't deserve that reassurance, I said. No, she agreed. The honesty was brutal. But I'm giving it anyway, she added. My chest tightened. Lynn watched us silently. I want to hear everything, I said. You will, she replied. But not all at once. I nodded. I'm not choosing him, she said. Relief washed through me. But I'm not choosing you either, she continued. The relief froze. I'm choosing information, she said. And I need you to understand that means I might do things you don't like. What kind of things? I asked. Meetings, she replied. Questions. Cooperation. With Lynn? I asked. With whoever moves the truth forward, she said. The phrasing sounded like Marcus's logic, stripped of loyalty. You're playing a dangerous game, I said. I'm not playing, she replied. Silence. I don't want you in this, I said. You don't get to want that, she replied gently. The repetition of that phrase was no longer sharp. It was resigned. Do you still love me? I asked again, because I couldn't stop myself. She looked at me for a long moment. I'm not sure, she said. The words landed heavy, but they didn't feel like an ending. They felt like a crossroads. I care, she added. But love without respect is unstable. I swallowed. Can you respect me again? I asked. I don't know yet, she said. Lynn cleared his throat softly. There's something else, she said, glancing at him. What? I asked. Marcus doesn't think you'll flip, she said. What does that mean? He thinks you're too attached to your guilt, she replied. He thinks guilt paralyzes you. The words hit hard because they were true. And do you? I asked. She studied me. I think you're capable of choosing, she said. But I don't know if you're capable of sacrificing. The word hung in the air. Sacrificing what? I asked. She held my gaze. Control, she said. The answer was surgical. And for the first time since the shots rang out in our apartment, I understood that this wasn't just about survival or exposure. It was about who would define the next version of us. And I wasn't the only one holding the pen anymore. The realization didn't feel dramatic. It felt surgical, clean. Something inside me had been cut loose, and I could either bleed out from it or learn how to live lighter. Lynn shifted slightly, but he didn't interrupt. This wasn't his moment. It was ours, and neither of us knew if there would be another like it. I don't want control, I said finally. And even as I spoke, I tested the truth of it. I wanted certainty. There's a difference. She studied me carefully. Certainty is just control with better marketing. I almost smiled. It hurt too much. You're right, I said. I built a version of us where I made the dangerous decisions alone and called it protection. Yes, she said. And I told myself that if you never saw the machinery, you'd stay clean. She didn't nod. She didn't soften. She just waited. But that wasn't about you, I continued. It was about me not wanting to be seen as someone who needed power. The word lingered between us. You liked being the one who knew things, she said quietly. Yes. And you liked that I trusted you. Yes. And you were afraid that if I saw the whole picture, I wouldn't. The honesty landed heavy in my chest. Yes. Silence filled the room. But it wasn't hostile. It was evaluative. Lynn stepped forward slightly. Marcus will move soon, he said. He doesn't like variables he can't predict. She glanced at him. He already tried to predict me. And? Lynn asked. He underestimated how much I hate being categorized, she replied. I looked at her. Are you going back? She didn't answer immediately. Not like before. That's not what I asked. I might meet him again, she said. But not as leverage. Not as a recruit. As what? I asked. As a mirror, she replied. The word settled into me. A mirror reflected. It didn't obey. Lynn watched her carefully. We can build a case, he said. But it takes cooperation. I'll cooperate, she replied. On my terms. And your terms are? He pressed. No lies, she said. No selective truths. If I'm in, I see the whole structure. Lynn nodded once. That's fair. I felt something shift inside me. For the first time, the momentum wasn't being dictated by Marcus or by my panic. It was being negotiated in the open. I'll give you everything, I said, looking at Lynn. All the accounts, the offshore routing, the names. You already signed consent, he reminded me. I know, I said, but this isn't compliance. It's choice. She looked at me then, really looked at me. That's new, she said. I'm late, I admitted. But I'm here. The vulnerability in that sentence made my throat tight. What happens after? I asked her quietly. If this falls apart, if he goes down, She held my gaze without flinching. Then we deal with what's left, which might not be us, I said. Yes, she replied. The truth of that didn't shatter me this time. It steadied me. Love, I realized, wasn't about securing an outcome anymore. It was about surviving the truth of who we were. I won't ask you to choose me, I said. Not now. A flicker crossed her face. Something softer. That helps, she said. Lynn checked his phone. We'll move carefully. No direct confrontation until we have documentation. She nodded. He'll test me again. He'll test both of you, Lynn corrected. I looked at her. If he tries to isolate you, I won't let him, she said. You can't promise that. No, she agreed. But I can promise I won't confuse intensity with loyalty. The line cut through me gently, not as accusation, but as clarity. And I won't confuse fear with love, I said. That earned the smallest shift in her expression. Not forgiveness, not yet. But acknowledgement. Lynn stepped toward the door. I'll coordinate with the team. You two have 10 minutes. He left us alone. The silence was different now. Not fractured. Just uncertain. I meant what I said, she told me quietly. I don't know if I love you the same way. I know, I said. But I don't want you destroyed, she added. That's more than I deserve. That's not how this works, she replied. This isn't punishment. It feels like it, I admitted. It's consequence, she said. There's a difference. I nodded slowly. She was right. I'm not asking for promises, I said. Just time. She studied me for a long moment. I can give you that, she said, but not blind trust. I won't ask for it. Silence again. Softer this time. You got shot, she said suddenly, stepping closer. Her eyes flicked to the bandage. Does it hurt? Yes, I said. Good, she replied. I let out a breath that might have been a laugh. I don't mean that cruelly, she added. I mean, I need to know you feel it. I do. Not just the bullet. I know. She reached out then, hesitated, and placed her hand lightly over my uninjured shoulder. The contact was brief, careful. We're not done, she said. With each other? I asked. With this, she clarified. And for the first time, I understood that those might not be the same thing. Outside the hospital window, dawn was beginning to break. The sky was no longer black. It was uncertain gray, suspended between dark and light. We'll dismantle it, she said quietly. Piece by piece. Together? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Aligned, she said finally. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't a vow. It was something sturdier. Aligned meant facing the same direction, even if we weren't holding hands. I exhaled slowly. For the first time since the glass shattered and the gunfire split our apartment open, I wasn't trying to control the ending. I was accepting that whatever came next would be written by both of us. And that was a beginning I had never allowed before.